Good afternoon. This time I'll call the Hamilton County Justice Center Jail Project Committee to order. Today we'll be interviewing 2 of the 7 vendors for the project manager. In your binders, the list of the vendors who have applied. Also, you'll find evaluation criteria sheet. This sheet is for you to evaluate the vendor. Also, please find the evaluation instructions, which I will go over. The vendor will be introduced, given 15 minutes to introduce himself and his experience. I will then be asking 7 questions to each vendor. I would ask commissioners if you have a question or question that you want to, that you wait till after I have all the questions submitted. I will then open up the floor for questions from the commissioner for the vendor. Your evaluation instructions. Each vendor has a separate section containing their evaluation sheets and their submitted qualifications. Each vendor section contains evaluation criteria form, a list of interview questions, the qualifications submitted, and reference questions and answers received. The evaluation criteria is broken down into 6 sections with a maximum number of points that can be assigned. These are listed below. I have listed where you can find the information needed to evaluate each section. You will assign points to each section based on the information provided. These all should be turned in by the 11th, but we may have an extension on that. At this time, I'll ask John Harrell to introduce our first vendor.
Thank you, Chairman. If you guys want to come up to the podium, this is Robert Barrett with Smith Doyle Contractors, and I'm going to let him introduce his partner there.
Good evening. Y'all don't mind, I'll unmuffle while I talk. Strange times we live in. With me is Jack Robinson. He's Vice President, and if selected, he will be the project manager for this project. Thank you very much for having us up here to speak to y'all. Y'all have a very nice project, and we'd love to be involved in it. First off, I'd like to commend the county for proceeding with the project at this time. You know, as general contractors, construction managers, we're used to riding the economic roller coaster. You know, work's either feast or famine. But you know, when this project comes out to bid, it's going to come out in a very competitive market, and it's going to serve y'all very well for the total cost of the job. You know, some of our most recent jobs we've bid, we've had bid openings last 2 and 3 hours with all the bids we've had to read. They're all publicly bid, so they're all open and read aloud. And it takes that long to get through them all, and consequently, you know, the impact on the budget is very great. You know, there's a lot of owners, public and private, that, you know, right now, you know, all we hear is, you know, well, we're not going to do anything until, you know, COVID's over with. Wait till COVID's over with, and there's going to be a lot of busy contractors out there. So, you know, when you have, you know, 8 or 9, 10 trade contractors in each division competing against each other, it serves a whole lot better than 1 or 2. So, y'all will, you know, reap those benefits, I'm sure, especially on a project like this, that draw a lot of interest. Simply put, Smith Doyle has a vast amount of experience in county detention facilities. With our first proposal in April, and also passed out to you this evening, is our experience brochure, and I won't bore you by going through that page by page, but I do ask that you take a few minutes and thumb through that. We're very proud of that. You know, we've got a lot of good projects, a lot of experience in this field. You know, we're a small general contractor, construction manager who's made a big impact in the area of detention facilities, and you know, that's for the last 20 plus years. That's been the bulk of our business and emphasis, and you know, we do know what we're doing. like I said, Jack will be the project manager going forward. Jack himself has had a great deal of experience. I'll let him elaborate a little bit more on that and introduce himself.
Well, good afternoon. Again, thank you. Your project that you have, we're very familiar with projects like this. We work very closely with counties and county commissioners or county quorum courts. That's our bread and butter. So we understand what you are looking for and what you're trying to do. You have a responsibility to your constituents to make sure that the monies, and this was a very large capital project for your county, you have to make sure that they're getting a good value for the monies that are being expended. And we fully understand that. And this is what we do every day with various counties in numerous states. So, reading what your proposal was asking for, it appears that you need someone who can be your eyes and ears and report back either to the chairman of this committee or the jail administrator or the county mayor. I'm not sure, because it didn't say who that individual is, but there should be one person that is going to be reported to. And that's what it appears you're asking for in your proposal. And that's typically the way it's done in most counties. So I would be looking to develop a relationship, more than likely with that individual and probably this committee, because there's concerns that you obviously have based on the way you've written your proposal. And those things need to be addressed. And as the project manager, I need to be aware of what it is that you, what your number one issue is. We need to make sure we're covering those things. And I would work to develop that relationship with whoever the individual is that I will be reporting to, and to this committee if they're involved in that reporting process. This is a large project, and I've done large projects. I don't know if you know anything about Robertson County, Tennessee, Springfield, Tennessee, but we did that job and I was the project manager on that. Very similar to yours. It was downtown, Springfield. It tied into the existing jail. This, I think, is a freestanding jail, if I understood everything that I was reading. So it's a high visibility project. So you're going to have a lot of your constituents asking, what's going on down there? What are they doing? And I'm assuming that you need to know that the information so you can answer those questions. And that's what you're looking for this project manager to do. So I understand all that. I understand also that you mentioned something about your FF&E, furniture, fixtures, and equipment. That's everything that if you turn the building upside down, it would all fall out. For this size facility, the budget on that should be quite substantial. And in Robertson County, I coordinate that for them in conjunction with the jail administrator. So it appears that you're asking for that sort of assistance, if I read everything correctly. We know how to do that. We know how to put, if you ask for the packages to be prepared for that, we can assist you in that, or we can advise the architect and engineers on that. Basically, you are what we do, and we know how to do it, and I think we could be of a major benefit to you. So with that, I'll close.
Besides Robertson County, Jack's currently doing a project for Montgomery County, Arkansas, jail project, and has done several in the past as well. Besides our past experience, I'd also like to point out we are currently working on 7 jail projects. in various stages of development. There are a couple of them are near completion, a couple of them are halfway through, a couple of them are just starting, one of them's just in the bidding stages. So again, county detention facilities is our bread and butter. So, I guess, questions?
Okay. What is your company's understanding of the project manager role as it relates to this project?
It's very well defined in the RFQ, and we understand exactly what y'all are asking for. It's a little different from our normal process. We're normally the construction manager advisor to the county, and we have a more pronounced role that we actually issue over 20 trade packages and administer those on behalf of the county. Whereas your project, you're going to a single general contractor, and it's their responsibility to sub out the work. But the work's the work. It's you still have to oversee those contractors and watch what's going on.
I see it as a reporting type of project to whoever that individual, or if it's the committee. That's the way it read to me.
How many of your projects were completed within or under budget?
Every one of them. Every one of them. And we are typically involved from the very conception of a project. We work with the designers and the counties and establish that budget from the very beginning. And we track that budget all the way through all the drawing phases of the design, and keep things on track, and if there are changes, which a lot of times from conception to when the drawings come out, things do change, and we maintain that budget all the way through when it's bid.
Have there been any projects you did not fully complete, and if there were, please explain.
No, none that we haven't completed.
Have there been any incidents where you were suspended or terminated from a project, and if there were?
No, none.
Have you had any litigation or claims related to projects you were hired to oversee that have been settled in the past 5 years?
No.
Do you have any current pending litigation?
No.
How often will you be on site to evaluate progress of this project?
I'm glad you brought that up. In this RFP, you do state a expected time commitment on site, and we propose to do that with a full-time site manager. Other than Jack, it'd be one of our superintendents that will be up here full-time to accomplish that. In you say 3 to 5 days, he will be here, for 40-hour full week. We have 7 site managers who have field construction experience in building jails. So that would be in addition to the visits and reporting that Jack does. That'd be a full-time man on site to do that. And you could do it without that man, but I seriously would not advise it. Site visits by a project manager, even if somebody's experienced as Jack, they're good, but that's not going to catch the things that need to be caught during construction. Make sure things are done right, that the specified materials are used. You're just not going to get that in a site visit, once or twice a month, to review pay requests and things like that. You need a full-time set of eyes.
The level of reporting that you allude to in the RFP indicates you're wanting to know that inspections were done, tests were performed, and that sort of thing. Well, that really needs to have the person that's here, would be there 24/7, so to speak, there to witness it, document it, write it down. because the contractors are gonna be doing a lot of things. This is a big building, and there are people gonna be doing things all over the place, so it would be the responsibility of that site manager to be sitting in with the contractor on his daily meetings and things like that, knowing when they've got, the concrete testing company who's supposed to be here to check this, when they're gonna check the rebar, when they're gonna inspect the welds on the steel, or whatever the case may be. So that's the reason we've approached it the way Robert stated.
As good as Jack is and experienced as he is, you know, no project manager is a field superintendent. No project manager can oversee construction, you know, like a superintendent or site manager that would be put on the job, that sees it on a daily basis, that, you know, is responsible for the building of a project. So.
At this time, I'll open it up to commissioners to ask any questions that they feel led to.
I have a question. The South Bill team, it says that you partner with Spirit Architecture Group, is that,
Yeah,
find that a little bit more?
South Build is basically a marketing name that ourselves and Spirit Architecture use to market to counties all over the southeast. We are not jointly owned or anything. All the jobs are separately contracted. They do design services. We do construction management services. Tennessee's kind of a different animal. I hate that it's our own home state, but you know, the way procurement is done in Tennessee, we don't. It's not a design build, but you know, you can't look at us as a team as we do in other states as much. You know, so they basically, you know, market their design services. We basically market our CM services. And hopefully, you know, we do things together, but in Tennessee, that's not always the case. So we, you know, work separately more in Tennessee than other places.
So they won't have a role?
Oh, no, y'all have already selected an architect, and we work with many architects. I mean, we're not, like I said, we're not tied to Spirit Architecture in any way.
I noticed in one of your responses, you said that true savings occur during the planning stages of the project, and most of the planning has already been done in this project.
It's a little behind the curve.
We'll still be looking to you for savings.
Oh, yeah.
So
No, we're not shy about giving our opinion. So, you know, once we, if we are selected, as soon as we get a look at those drawings, we're going to give our opinion and you know, advise y'all what we think you know, could be done better, or at least, you know, get into the reasons why the architect did the things they did. Is somebody from Mosley Architect here now? No, but we look forward. They, you know, from what I've read about them, they seem like a very capable firm and very experienced in jail construction. But yeah, we're going to, you know, put our 2 cents in, and it may, you know, it may be a little more difficult at this stage to adopt some things that we might suggest, because, you know, they are a little further along. But you know, we do have time before the plans are issued for bid to, you know, get into a lot of things. We don't, you know, we want to sit down with the sheriff and jail administrator and go through the drawings, you know, with them and the designer, and you know, just make sure, you know, there's not anything that can be done better. You know, it's not too late to make improvements. So you know, better before the plans are issued than after. You know, once that job's out for bid, and you know, changes are by change order, that's not an efficient time to you know, be looking at you know, the major changes to the scope of work. So.
Are you sticking to the timelines that you had in your, RFP, that you don't have, if you are, time is of the essence. And, so your windows of opportunity for what you were referring to is kind of narrow.
Well, I think most of us, are reluctant to delay the project, because of a lot of variables, that's involved here.
Okay, understand.
It's as soon as if we are selected, as soon as we could get on board to dive into it, that's what we want to do. Jack will pour over the drawings. I will, our other VP in the company who also has a lot of jail experience, he'll get into them. Our general superintendent will get into them from a constructability standpoint, and we'll make our suggestions.
The Robinson facility completed recently.
The Robertson?
Robertson, can you tell us about that? Was there any specific challenges that you faced?
Again, it was,
2010.
yeah, it was right next to the existing jail. It was on a corner lot.
Was it?
Yes, it's multi-story. Actually, there's 4 levels, and we had to tie into the existing jail, and we had to build the new section, get it built. Then we took over areas in the existing jail and did some renovations in there, made some conversions and things like that. It was,
Multi-phase.
yeah, it had a lot
A coordination.
of things going on, okay?
How long did that project take?
Well, the way we do it was in the Southfield process. We spent 4 years working on it. That was from the time that we met with the first sheriff, it was Gene Bollinger, he's passed away now. And in this process, the first sheriff, he retired, the new sheriff came on board, we worked with him. He actually was the point man during the whole thing. He had been the chief deputy. And so from design to the day that we turned over the keys, it was just shy of 4 years. in total.
Construction duration, I believe, was 28 months, and
Yeah.
we completed in 27.
How involved were the sheriffs in the other project?
The sheriff and I met every month, sometimes twice a month. The county mayor, the sheriff was the point of contact between me and him, and then he directly reported to the county mayor. And we worked the monies. I reported to them on the cost and all that. And at times, they wanted an update, and I came to the county commission meeting, and if the sheriff wanted me to say something, we had worked all that out, and I would come and do that as well. But I met with them every month, and most of the time with the sheriff, it was more than that.
From a design standpoint, before the drawings were even started, we begin with the meeting with the sheriff, jail administrator, anybody involved in the project. And
Finance.
we come in with the designer as a group during a week-long work session, to develop the schematics, that they're involved in everything, the flow of the prisoners, how everything works, how many offices they need. They have input into every stage, and with them we develop a schematic, and then as the drawings develop through all stages of design development, and of course final construction drawings,
We developed
We
a
meet with
budget
them.
for them
Yeah.
to take, in their particular case, they had to sell bond. So we worked up the numbers so that the county knew exactly how much to approach the bonding companies for to get the funding. And we had all that pulled together for them.
but it's done with their input every step of the way.
Yes, sir.
Are you familiar with our jail being decertified?
I read an article about it, and some of the words were rather,
To build a jail
Rough.
and actually attach it to this one, your new jail becomes decertified also, does it not?
I can't.
I would
do
have
that.
certified.
If it was operating along with it, yeah, you can't have a half certified and half not certified if they were, you know. But then, you know, you might do something like Robertson, you know, we built it and then transferred, went over and did the renovations, you know.
They were not, Robertson County was not in the situation that you're in. From what the articles that I've seen about your existing jail, you're about that close to being shut down, if maybe, I don't know. But Robertson County was not, they weren't in that kind of a situation. Now, they were, if they didn't start doing some of the things that we did, they could have, but they really weren't that close to being shut down.
Back to the other question, I don't know what the process has been to now, but, you know, if the sheriff and the administrator and the operators in the new facility have not been involved in the project to date, I would suggest whether it's us or anybody else, they get involved in it right now. Because, you know, they're the ones that are gonna have to live with the project for the next 30 years. And if you haven't asked the sheriff how many holding cells he wants by now, it's time to ask him.
Yeah, hopefully you've done that and you've looked at it
I
from
would
the
assume
manpower.
so.
The real expense is the operating of it, okay? The bricks and mortar are gonna go away, that cost is gonna go away relatively quickly. If it's not gonna be an efficient, facility to operate, and the only one that's gonna really know all that kind of stuff is the jail administrator and the sheriff, and hopefully they've provided some input on the way they're gonna operate with the budgets that they have in place.
I've got some questions. Some of the qualifications back here that we asked, so do you have any, do you have staff that can act on your behalf to manage this project if needed? And if so, explain why. Here it says that you have 7 site managers, said that a while ago. Now, is that 7 home site for this job?
No, there'll just be one man, one site manager for this job that will be selected from 7 that we have that have jail experience.
How many projects do you have going on now that?
We have 7 going on right now. 2 of them are nearing completion. So I suspect it'll be one of those 2 men.
Well, when you, and I don't know this, when you, speaking about a while ago, when you said, speaking to the county commissioners once a month and the sheriff twice, is it part of the course that you do a report each week or something like that?
From what I read, it looks like you want a monthly report that wraps up all the meetings that have occurred during that month that relate to the job. Like, you want us to report on the meetings that the general contractor has with the subcontractors.
Well, I guess
That's the gist of what I get, is what you want to know. And then if there were certain tasks that were supposed to have been performed in that month, you want to know about it and that we documented it and stuff like that. That's what I'm seeing.
The site manager will do daily report.
Right, we'll keep a daily log.
that's what you usually do.
And then we'll summarize. I'll take those documents to
Listed
summarize.
that as a minimum amount of reporting. Obviously, you know, we would do whatever the commission feels like they need. If you need it more often.
That's the
than
part
that minimum.
about the relationship we would need to develop. I'll need to know what it is that's really the crux of the matter, okay? This has got to be one of the most expensive things y'all got going on in the county. So whatever it is that you want to have, make sure the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed, I'll kind of need to know that. So I'm gathering and looking at those sorts of things that would affect you. Typically on our job, we have a monthly contractors meeting. It's conducted, all the contractors are required to attend, and then that is documented. The schedule's reviewed, submittals are reviewed, application for payments, the whole 9 yards, okay? I'm not sure that's what you're asking for, because we don't have that responsibility the way you're setting it up. But I would attend, or the site manager would attend the weekly meetings that the contractor has. I'm anticipating that contractor's gonna have a monthly meeting with all of his subs. I'm figuring that I would attend that to document that, and then I'm anticipating meeting with the architect and engineer when he comes on site. At least, I'm assuming he would do that at least once a month, maybe twice. I would try to be there when he has those meetings. Then I would summarize all of that kind of stuff and prepare some sort of a report in a format that y'all would like, and submit that.
I gotta ask this one, on this job at Crawford County, Arkansas Detention Center in 2016, you saved $3 million on that project. How did you save $3 million on that project?
So subcontractor participation. You know, when we budget a job, we're pretty good at budgeting these jobs. It's almost counterproductive to even have that in there. It sounds like we blew our budget on the high side. The number of bids and the competitiveness of those bids was astounding. Plus, where Van Buren is, drew a lot of participation from the Fayetteville area, Fort Smith area, Little Rock. They converged on that one.
All of it I've read, $1,500,000, that $3 million.
Yeah.
So I had to ask.
Yeah, we were as.
The market
It was
has a lot to do
it was a
with.
pleasant shock to everybody that it came in that far under budget.
Contractors are gonna be looking for work, so you probably, well, the general contractor is probably gonna get a lot of activity, and that should result in him coming in with probably a pretty decent number for him, I would anticipate.
Selection and approval of prospective general contractor bidders are part of our responsibility, per the RFQ. So we wouldn't be as involved in rounding up the subcontractors as we normally would. But we do know all the players in detention and the security electronics field. And we would make sure that, everybody we know is, involved in this job. So, to make sure those trades are as competitive as possible. And, even though we aren't the general contractor, we could still participate in a lot of advertisement, a lot of, getting the word out to everybody about the project to make sure there's good participation. Even though that's the GC's role, that doesn't mean we can't help. So.
Any other questions?
I've got a couple. How do you feel about saving your cost? In other words, when you come to a project, do you feel confident that you will find savings for us, or is it just, let's go into value engineering. Where you guys gonna really look? I mean, you're saying you're coming in at the end of the game, part of it, but when you get on site, not necessarily as cheap or better. And not that we want to spend money, obviously, you've got a good handle on this is a great project for us. We need it to be the best we can be, right? All I's dotted and all T's crossed. And I'm asking your bid, whatever it happens to be, are you going to save us?
Well, we're not bidding.
I understand,
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Or we work our money.
Your cost, I'm sorry. Yes, but do you feel that what your value is to us, we will save that?
I would have much preferred to have been the construction manager advisor, but that's, past the point now. Value engineering is a bad term. You don't get the value. Value engineering occurs after the bid, and you get very little value for any changes in engineering. What impact we can make to the cost will be before the drawings are issued, and we hope we can, find some things that would be good suggestions that everybody agrees in, that would some good savings. I think the most value that we can offer is, during construction, to catch the problems before they happen. We've been there, we've built them, we can see, that, the electrician's underground is not going in right. Better to catch it and get it corrected than tear up the slab and redo it. That's where our savings will really come.
That you'll create as project manager, if you were to get this, a facilitating, a good environment, and everybody working together. I mean, you guys are working for us.
Right.
I mean, you're our eyes and ears, and we need, as top-notch work we can get.
Right. You specifically say that we are not to advise on means and methods, and but that doesn't mean we can't say, pull
Well, yeah,
the GC
let's just say,
superintendent aside and say,
I'm
hey,
told that you're numero uno for the county, that I'm supposed to report to you. So Mr. Cutshaw, I'd probably come to you, you and I'd talk, and I'd say, well, you probably need to talk to the architect about this, check on that. Or we may want to put in some alternates here, so that if this doesn't come in the way you're
Okay.
expecting, we can take some
That's
savings.
fair enough. So you'll give us suggestions possibly.
Oh,
That's the way I read what you're asking us to
Okay,
do.
so as you report to whoever our head is, that one person, and you go on the point where you're not having to answer to everybody daily, would you still be opposed to coming and meeting with us on call meetings or whatever, and give us that report?
Absolutely.
That's what we're
Yeah.
anticipating.
we've got to, in this role, we have to be cautious that we're not too authoritarian, to.
I'm
the designer
anticipating
and
that you're gonna
general
want us to
contractor.
go to wherever the architects, I guess they're in North Carolina.
Sure.
I'm anticipating that it's gonna require some meetings with them to sit down and make sure I know what they're planning.
Okay.
And then to get them to, I need to fit in with them, okay? Because you're asking me
I
to
understand.
report on some things. Well, I've got to go sit and listen and look.
Well, you guys obviously have your experience in jail projects, but what sets you apart? I mean, we hear everybody that's been in here sells the same product that you're selling.
Mhm.
What sets Smith Doyle apart?
Well, it truly is experience and knowledge. Construction is you're taking, you're starting at nothing, and you're creating a new entity, a new building. It's not an easy process. And there's so many unique aspects of detention construction that if you haven't been through it, you'll get a costly lesson. First time or two around in doing this. So it truly is, having, been through the wars, been in the trenches of doing these type of projects. Other than that, it's people, it's personnel, it's relationships. That's what we're good at. In the experience brochure, other than the 3 projects highlighted in the RFP, we encourage you to call all of our customers. Not every job is perfect, and some of them might say, yeah, we had a little HVAC problem or something, but overall, it was a good job. We reference all those people in that documentation, and we develop good relationships with all of them. And that's why we like working in a capacity as a construction manager advisor, or in this case as a project manager, because we're on the team with y'all and the design. We're here for y'all's benefit to get a good project, and we're not on the other side of the table.
The architect and engineer that you've got, this may not be the biggest thing he's got going on, okay? But he needs to remember that in y'all's particular case, it is the biggest thing going on, okay? So as your eyes and ears, I'd be stirring that pot. Hey, what's going on? But I got to report on. I'd be trying to make it important to them, all right? We're from Tennessee, we do this job for you, you're going to, 10 years from now, 15 years from now, you may need to do an addition, okay? I'm just saying. We do repeat work for a lot of the counties that we do work for, okay? So we're very interested in maintaining our relationship with counties. And so getting this job, we're looking down the road on who you might talk to, or you may call us and ask us to do something for you. That's the kind of thing we're looking to do. And we've done a lot of that sort of thing. So that's the approach we're taking, and we do that a lot. So that's why we think we're your best pick.
Yeah, we know y'all went to visit Coffee County, and we've read articles about things that happened at Carter County, and you know, we want our relationship to be positive when then, you know, other Tennessee county calls y'all or sees you at a commissioner's conference or sheriff's conference and y'all talk. I want a glowing report. That's how we maintain our business, and that's what has worked for us, you know, over the last 20 years.
Any other questions?
Just one, Mr. Chairman, commissioning service, you guys recommend that?
Oh, yeah. In fact, you talk about it, that we're to witness it and document it. And in my mind, my first thought was, well, the architect and engineer, they better have that in their specs. That needs to be laid out in some detail so that the vendors and subcontractors that bid to the general know exactly what their responsibility is.
There's all levels of commissioning, and in a facility like this, you do need a high specified commissioning procedure to adhere to. Yeah. It may involve, you know, some extra hours on the design side by the engineering consultants, mechanical, plumbing, electrical engineers to, you know.
I'm sure that they're looking at that. I mean, I looked at their portfolio and they got some pretty high-end buildings. And they've done it for both federal, state, and local communities. So I'm anticipating seeing that in their specs.
Any other questions? No, we appreciate y'all being here and your interest in our county.
We sincerely appreciate it, and hope to hear from you soon. And even if not successful, we wish you the best of luck on a successful project, but we sure hope we are your selection. Thank you.
Thank you.